Brilliant.
Thank you, Johan. Morning, everybody.
Well, almost tripped.
A little bit lower, please. Thank you. So the advantage of going first and starting late is that I don't need to speak my entire slot. We've got tea and everything. I haven't presented in almost three years, so I am a little bit nervous. I like to talk, and around the brow a lot of nonsense, but let's hope I'm not going to talk nonsense today. You'll see on the screen we've got the Wi-Fi password or the login and details. So if you haven't got it yet, please feel free. Do I need to keep it up, or can I move on? Okay. So my name's Brendan. Let me introduce myself. I'm the supply chain manager at NewPay. I head up the field services team. I also do health and safety, and I do facilities, everything everybody else doesn't want to do. So everybody, all the technicians out on the road, they fall under me, and they're obviously the health and safety team and the facilities team. So I want to pose a question to everybody in this room, and I've actually got a little surprise. So I've got a new terminal, and I'm going to pick someone here today, and you're going to get the new terminal. So I'd like to understand, why do we need to embrace technology? Obviously, Eskom hasn't embraced technology yet because we were all late. But why do we need to embrace technology? Nobody wants to win the terminal. Lovely, lovely. By a show of hands, who's using a 3310 today? Nobody. A Nokia 3310. Anybody using a Nokia 3310? Huh? By a show of hands, who used Waze or Google Maps to get here today? Almost everybody. Nobody used the map book. So we've all embraced some sort of technology in our lives some or other time. So when my eldest son was born 10 years ago, I swore to my wife that my son will not have a cell phone until the age of 13. He got his cell phone 2 years ago. And the reason why we did this, not just to keep him busy, yeah, it's sort of why to keep him busy, but because the world is changing. Schools today, you don't get a textbook, or some of the schools, the fancy schools. You don't get a textbook anymore. You get a tablet, or you get asked to purchase a tablet for your child so that they can download their textbook. They get their homework. They work on tablets. They work on laptops. Now, if I had kept my son away from that until the age of 13, and he only started working on a cell phone in 3 years' time, he would be behind. He would be behind. We know that there's the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, but there's technology out there today to stop all of that so that your kids don't do that. So if we don't embrace technology, we're going to fall behind. And Altron's vision is the highly differentiated technology service provider. Sure, need some water there. But it's on the screen, sorry. And that's what we are doing. We as NewPay, as FinTech, as Delta, are embracing technology. And we need to do that so that we make your lives easier and we make our lives easier. We don't do everything just to make our lives easier. We do things to make your lives easier. So I'm going to play a video now, and if you walked in, you would have seen the video playing, but you didn't hear anything. And it's got a really cool storyline behind it, and I'm happy to play it twice if you want to sort of look into the storyline. But I'd like you to focus on the technology change in this video. This video was introduced into the field by Altron 3 years ago, so you might have seen it. And every time I watch it, it still gets to me, and I figure out, hey, listen, I remember that, and I don't think I remember that because I wasn't born yet. But the technology change in this 1.5, 2-minute video is absolutely amazing.
I've known you from the very beginning. Watched as you started exploring the world. When you first felt that feeling of wonder. I was there when you had your heart broken. And when it became free, I was there when you went from growing your knowledge to sharing it with the world. I was there to make sure you were safe. When you found your forever love.
You've arrived at your destination.
And looked on as life drew full circle. I've been there all along. And I always will be.
Cool video. So I'm going to give you the terminal that I was speaking about. It's a little bit bigger than I expected. Keith, if you can just hand that terminal to the gentleman over there, please. Just be careful, it's pretty heavy. So, and if you don't mind just opening it up and just showing the audience, please. Our new mobile terminal. Okay, Keith, so you can chuck it back in. Thank you. And then just give it back to me. So ladies and gentlemen, that terminal over there was, it's not actually a mobile terminal, but we used it as a mobile terminal. And some might remember it, and I'm looking at a certain gentleman in the audience. And micro lenders back in the day, but then micro lenders back in the day used to travel with this thing. Okay, and they used to go out and see their customers, and this little thing that looks very rough. I'm going to drop it. They used to plug that inverter onto a battery. That battery would convert from 12 volt to 220 volt. Plug the terminal in, and the terminal will come, and it will light up. And then they'd plug in their huge connect pad, or connect net at that time, and they would transact. And they would literally transact. So that's when we started moving away from card and PIN. And this is what we had to go through. We had to connect terminals to car batteries so that we can transact. Obviously, if it was in the branch, connect it to your 220 volt and it would work. But that was our mobile terminal, by the way. So that's the white one, the big white one that, oh, sorry, and there's one more thing. Vaughan actually told me the story. I haven't been working for the company 23 years. You can see it. But when they received that terminal, and Johan, you weren't here either, so they didn't mess up the terminal. They took that terminal, they put it down on the ground, and they chucked sand on it. And not just a little bit of sand. They chucked a lot of sand on it. And then they took it, they shook the sand off, they blew, not with a massive blower, but they just blew it out. And then connected it, and it worked. So that's the 3310s of terminals. An amazing terminal. There's a couple of guys around here that have been here with us for a while. I'm pretty sure some of them can still prep this terminal within like 2 minutes. And it came with double ply tool roll, and it made a huge noise. It was like those dot matrix printers. And then we had this one. This was our desktop terminal. I had to go and dig this out very, very deep in our storage. You can see it's been through the wars. Then we moved on to the Magic 3 terminals, the Verifone Magic 3 terminals. Some of you, or most of you will remember these. And we thought these were amazing. We honestly thought, yeah, what amazing terminals. These are the best. 2G devices, amazing. And then we had to change. And we had to change because of technology. Yes, we had to change because of rules, PCR rules, that type of thing, but we had to move with technology. We then moved on, and we're currently using some of these terminals now. Then when we moved on to the Magic X4 devices and the Magic M4 devices, and again, we thought, yeah, great. M4's got a color screen. You know, when you moved from a 3310 and you got a colored screen on yourself and you thought you were the coolest in school at work. And yeah, it was great. Got a colored screen mobile terminal. We don't have to plug it onto a battery. There's a battery built in, and we thought, yeah, awesome. And then we introduced the Bluebirds into the market. And again, we had a 2G device with a biometrics reader. And we thought, yeah, awesome. But we just had to move, and we had to carry on moving with technology. And today's technology in terminal is absolutely amazing. And very shortly, I'm going to show you some, I'm not going to transact, but I'm going to show you some of the new terminals that we're introducing. But we then moved over to 3G devices. And as the supply chain manager, I thought, wow, this is awesome. But hang on, does my SIM card in the M4 device or the old Magic 3 device work in a 3G? And we phoned the supplier up, and I said to the supplier, listen, I've got 3G terminals now. And he said to me, don't worry. Don't worry. I said, what do you mean, don't worry? I've got a 2G, and I'm going to a 3G. What about the SIM card? No, the SIM card is fine. The SIM card is fine. So we were in a bit of a panic, but we made it happen, and we went to a 3G dual SIM card. I was like, wow, that's really cool. So now we've got a Vodacom SIM card, we've got an MTM SIM card, I can put a Telkom SIM card with a Vodacom. It was really cool. It was, and we embraced the technology, we bought the stock, and we took it to the field. But then, a little over a year ago, and yes, it is a year, and it does take some time to develop certain things on terminals, get things certified and that type of thing. We were introduced to the Eurovo i9100. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is an Android device. So going from that mobile to a little bit smaller than this, a little bit smaller, and now back to this. How small were your 3310s, by the way? Look, like that. And how big is the iPhone 14? It's massive. It's massive. So we wanted small, then we wanted big, then we wanted back to, we're going to back to big. Okay. Full-on touch screen, ladies and gentlemen. NFC capabilities, and if I say NFC capabilities, it's your tap function. 4G network. So now we're going from 3G to 4G. Some of you might have heard that they are planning on removing 2G and 3G. We've got it handled. We've spoken to suppliers. As soon as I saw the news article, I sent it to Vaughan. Vaughan spoke to Johan. Johan spoken to a lot of other people. So there's no need to panic with those. The Bluebird devices and Magic M4 and X4 devices will still be around for some time. We've got until about 2027 on the Magic X4 and M4 before we have to remove them out of the field. But our SIM cards that are in the mobile devices are fine. They will move over to the 4G networks. I had a chat to Dirk the other day. Okay, so they will move over to the 4G networks if they decide to switch off any 3G or 2G networks. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Okay, so if you have Wi-Fi in a branch, you can connect to your Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, it doesn't bounce between the two. Okay, so if your Wi-Fi goes down, your 3G will then kick in. It's a few settings, and it's done. And it kicks in the 4G, sorry, not the 3G. 2 megapixel camera, supports 1D and 2D barcode scanning. And our target markets for these devices are going to be the spaza shops, the man in the van, field agents, small to medium retail businesses. All right. Then we're going to start introducing the Eurovo device. Amazing little device. Sorry, PAX device. Sorry, told you I'm nervous. PAX device, okay. And again, our target markets are going to be retail, the microfinance industry, the medical industry, and the restaurant industry. Unfortunately, we don't have debit check working on these two devices yet. We are working on it. We're looking at sort of towards the end of March, beginning of April, to have some sort of debit check. There is no integration, ladies and gentlemen, yet. Okay. We'd rather try and get our point of sale working, then our debit check working, and then start looking at the integration side of things. Okay. Again, NFC capabilities, 4G networking, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 5 megapixel camera. I'm going to send these two around. They're not live devices, but if you want to swipe your card, feel free. My banking details are linked to those two devices. Any questions? We have to embrace technology, Stefan. You've now got Bluetooth.
My name is Sam. If we embrace the new technology, as you said, the old devices that we had at the stage, are we going to return them to new pay for replacement, or are we going to have to pay? How do we dispose them?
So we're not ready to launch yet. Okay, we're going to do POS first. Okay, then we're going to do debit check. Once we've started and we're starting to, so if your device breaks, okay, then we will, if your debit check is working and your POS is working on the PAX of the Eurova, then we'll replace the Bluebird with a PAX or a Eurova. Okay. Pricing, so hasn't been signed off yet, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at sort of a outright purchase and a rental. Okay, we're looking at those. Pricing we haven't finalized yet. All right, any more questions? Nothing, we're going to move on. Then we get to New Card. So a lot of you know about New Card. New Card's been around for a very, very long time with NewPay. And we started out with our yellow card. And then we decided, okay, well, we had to change our logos, and we decided, okay, we're going to move to a different looking card, which is your blue card in the middle. And then, again, had to embrace technology and move with times, and we had to get a chip-based new card. Okay, that is the black one on the right-hand side. I hope yeah, he's right. So that's cool. All right. The new card quantities for financial year 2021, 2022, we've almost dispatched 190,000 new cards. Madeleine, don't worry, this is not, it doesn't have Atlas stats in this. There's only NewPay new cards, okay? So we were dispatching anything between 15 to 15,500 new cards average every single month. For this financial year, we have increased those numbers a little bit to 227 or just under 228,000 new cards for this financial year. We've still got the rest of February to go. This is up until the end of January. Okay, we're averaging about 20,700 per month dispatching out to merchants. Oh, and then Stefan's in front of my press. And then new card orders. So physical orders, guys, not count of physical orders. In financial year 2021, 2022, we received 1,583 actual orders, which is an average of about 130 orders a month. And this financial year so far is we're sitting on 1,650 odd orders for the financial year. Again, this is up until the end of January. I didn't add February stats into this. So EMV. Anybody know what EMV stands for and why we went through to an EMV card? Pierre, you had your hand up. What does EMV stand for? Okay, but the video will tell you. The video does explain EMV. The video explains to you why we had to move to the EMV card. There's more security in it, and again, embracing technology.
What exactly is an EMV card? EMV stands for EuroPay, MasterCard, and Visa, and is the global standard for cards equipped with a chip and the technology used to authenticate chip card transactions. These enhanced safety features are designed to prevent fraudulent practices such as card skimming and cloning. The feature we are most excited about is cashback at any point-of-sale terminal. This will allow customers to withdraw cash via a merchant's point-of-sale terminal and receive the cash immediately. These transactions are secure, allow customers to avoid fraudsters at ATMs, and they save customers the cost of the high bank charges associated with ATM withdrawals. Some of the benefits of the new EMV New Card include: EMV allows for two types of payment methods: inserting the card into the terminal or tapping the card on the terminal. A unique one-time transaction code is created by the card chip every time the card is used. Each swipe is only good for one transaction, adding an additional layer of security.
So, mic on. Okay, so some of the benefits with our new card. Cashless environment in the branches, guys. We know the country that we're staying in now, we can't keep cash in branches. The guys find out about it, they come and rob us, and you lose your cash. So the nice thing about this, you get an online platform where you pay money into a trust account, okay? And then that money, or those funds, then get allocated to your profile. Nobody can take that money. You can't, if they walk into your branch, your money's on your profile. They can take the cards, cool, take the cards. But the money doesn't sit on the cards unless you put the money on the cards. All right. Cashless environment for a consumer. How many consumers leave your branches and 10, 20 meters down the road, their cash gets stolen? Now that guy's already gone and taken out a loan, hopefully which he can afford. He needs the loan to feed his family, and now it gets stolen. He's going to run back into your branch, and he's going to try and loan more money, which then puts him over indebted. So it's safer for the consumers as well as our merchants. It's protected via a PIN. So there's a PIN. It's like a bank card, but there's no debit orders allowed against this card. So you've got a PIN that's linked to the card. They can change their PIN. They can view statements online. So if they don't give their PIN out to anybody, again, nobody can draw their money out of the new card. Like I said, no debit orders allowed against this card. It's not a bank account, okay? It's like a gift card. You know, if you get a gift card for your birthday or Christmas, and you can only spend it at a specific mall, it's very similar. That's a closed loop system. But this one, this card, you can go and draw money at any ATM, okay? And you can go and swipe on any terminal that allows Visa and MasterCards. Card-to-card transfer. So if he gives his wife that's working in Durban a card, okay, and he's got a card here in Joburg, he can transfer money from that card to her card. There's no need to go and draw that money out, go to Checkers, put it in and do whatever they need to do, money send, cash send, and then it's a card-to-card transfer facility. Like I said, ATM withdrawals, so any ATM across the country, Standard Bank is the cheapest for them to draw money out of. If there are fees on the back of this that the consumer needs to pay. So Standard Bank ATMs is cheaper than any other ATM. POS transactions, so terminals, they can go to Checkers, Pick and Pay, Spaza shops, any terminal that allows a MasterCard card to be swiped, they can swipe their cards on that. Cashback facility, so when I say cashback facility, they can literally go into a Checkers and say, okay, I want 200 Rand cash, please. It is the cheapest option for them to do a cashback. It is the cheapest option. And then tap and go functionality. So in our old cards, no, we don't want to go. Oh, it's fine. The blue ones and the yellow ones that were out there, they didn't have the tap functionality. These ones got the tap functionality. Okay. Just on the whole tap functionality quickly, because you might have a consumer that goes to a branch or to a retailer, and they tap their card and it doesn't work. It's not the card. Okay. How the tap functionality works is we can set it. We get a specific limit that we have to adhere to. The current limit now is 500 Rand. But we as a service provider can put additional limits to that. So that retailer service provider has obviously got a limit on it, or they haven't got the tap and go functionality, or they've said limit 0. Okay. Any questions before I move on? Can we talk in the mic? Sorry, guys. Can we talk in the mic? Because we are trying to record this and then make it available.
I would just like to know, how do you transfer from one card to another? A
So
client.
They can go via what's on my card, whatsonmycard.com, and they can transfer to another card. We'll get an account manager to show you and give you some training. Okay.
My second card link, right? So the consumer will have 2 cards linked to him. Those cards are linked to each other. And then you will transfer the funds from the one card to the other card. But there's a whole process for that. By the way, something interesting also is that we are working on the Rover devices to start looking at apps that you can pair with that, on which you can then run other applications as well for normal Androids, where your consumer might then go in and do his own transfers on his own phone via these apps and things. So, but that's the future yet to come. Not quite there. Right now, goes onto the app platform on what's on my card. .co.za, right, Stefan?
Whatsonmycard.com.
Yeah, that is the internet. So whatsonmycard.com, logs on there, and then he does the transfer. And I think you can also do it from your profile, your merchant profile. You can also transfer it for him. Okay.
Okay. There's another question, Jeff.
Okay, I'm Absalom from Matavele Cash Loans. Is possible to write our company name of this card? The reason I'm asking this is the way of marketing also for our companies.
Come and join me for my presentation because it's my next slide.
No.
It is possible. It is possible. I'm going to show you some photos. It is possible. Any more? Lovely. So our possible future enhancements, and when I say possible, especially because of the first one, cross-border usage. Now, we all know that the new cards don't work cross-border. We are currently busy in conversation with a supplier so that these cards do work cross-border. Okay, some of my technicians go cross-border, and I'm hoping that it works, because instead of them having to draw money or borrow a company credit card or something like that, it's a lot easier just for the new card to work cross-border. I'm sure you guys have got a lot of clients that work in South Africa and are based cross-border. Online purchases. So you'll be able to use your new card to sort of purchase on Takealot, any online type of purchases. And we're working on a mobile app with our suppliers so that the consumer doesn't need to log on to their phone, go onto the website, what's on my card. We can actually make an app available for your consumers so they can check their balances, their transactions, card-to-card transfers, PIN, change the PIN, all of that, those fancy things. Then this gentleman asked me about co-branding. Yes, sir, we can co-brand. Okay, we've got several customers that have co-branded with us. Some of our customers, 1.5 million.
In total, there's more than 2 million co-brand cards that have been issued in the market.
So yeah, and one of our customers is probably about 85% of that 2 million that they've pushed into the market. There are some of our new ones. The one on the far right is a pretty new one. We are working on that co-brand at the moment. There's obviously T's and C's, ladies and gentlemen. So One of them being that you have to order a minimum of 5,000. That is not a new pay rule, that is a supplier rule. We get these cards, so you get a branded, so they call it a base card, okay? So we order base cards from the supplier. Now, a base card has got everything on it except your expiry date, your sequence number, and your card number, okay? So if you look at the card on the right, that's how a base card actually looks, okay? We then get that stuff from China, okay? Well, it's our supplier imports it from China, and then our suppliers over here then have got base cards. They then take those base cards and they run them through their machines, and they go and put the card numbers on it, they link sequence numbers, they link the PIN number. So if we are importing, we have to order sort of a minimum quantity. Okay, so minimum quantity for a base to PERSO a card is 5,000. We do a lot of these cards. There are a lot of these cards out there. It's nice. It's awesome advertising for our merchants. One of the best benefits of this card, and I think you're going to like this benefit, is that if the consumer comes to me and takes a loan from me and I give them a new card, okay? He cannot take that new card and go to another merchant and loan money. They have to give him a brand new card. So if you brand your cards, that consumer looks and says, okay, hang on, I need to go back to this person because this card belongs to that merchant. He might just say, well, you know what, draw my money, take my cash, chuck the card away. They do that. But your name is out there, your advertising is out there. You know, if that guy goes and chucks the card on the floor, how many people walk past that card? Yeah, Joburg CBD on average? A lot of people. I drove through Joburg CBD this morning. My Waze didn't embrace technology. It took me through CBD, and there's a lot of people walking in those streets. So just a bit of stats on the field services, guys, to service you as our, yes, sorry, ma'am.
Hello, I just want to know the cost of the card, the same price as the normal one, but they're not personalizing.
Yes, your cost per card is the same. Yes, but there's so you have to do trademark searches, which is a little bit of extra, but the actual cost of per card is exactly the same.
Trademark search is a once-off cost.
Yeah.
So it's once-off, it's about 2,500 rand, and you register internationally. So then that logo belongs to you.
Okay. If you've done a trademark search already, then we're not going to bill you the 2.5. If you've done a trade, we're doing a co-brand now with the card on the left that they've provided me with their trademark search, so I don't need to go and do a trademark search. Any more questions? Okay. So just some stats. These stats are for our field service guys out on the road. Now, when COVID hit and a lot of us worked from home, a lot of us couldn't work, including this industry, our field service guys still had to go out. We've got a couple of retailers that were known as essential services, and the field service guys worked through level 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. They walked into branches not knowing if they're going to get COVID or not. These guys really pushed during COVID, and I'm extremely proud of that team. And we moved out of it, and we're grateful for it. And now we full swing back on the road and servicing every single one of you. So in 2022, 2023, again, this financial year, we did 2,700 installations. Now, guys, I'm not going to lie, it's not 2,700 branches. Okay, it's 2,700 products that we went and installed. So we could have installed 2 products, 3 products, 1 product. That's 2,700 products that we've installed for this financial year so far. Service calls. Now, this is excluding the service calls that we do in the office. Now, we've got a couple of in-office technicians that sit there and prep the terminals and send it to merchants out on courier, okay, because we can't get everywhere. All right, so we've got a couple of guys in the office that prep terminals, pack it in a box, and we send it via courier. This is excluding that number, okay? This is physical people in a car driving in a branch, okay? We did 5,000 service calls last financial year. Now, in order to do that, we need to drive, okay? We did a total of 760,000 kilometers so far this financial year, which is about 69,000 kilometers per month. And on average, 3,285 kilometers per day. That's what my team does on average per day. And then 164 kilometers per technician. Now, 164 kilometers doesn't sound a lot. It really doesn't. Okay, this is local. So anything within 150 kilometers we travel, anything outside of that, we try and service via courier. Now, if you're doing only 150 kilometers, it's a lot of time in a car. Okay, those are spending 2-3 hours at a branch at a time. They have to get to work, first of all, get into our company car, then drive. They've been driving the whole day. They've been in branches the whole day. They've been under desks. They need to come back to the office, leave the company car, and then get into their car and drive again. So these guys do quite a bit of driving. Some of our retail customers, some of our field services. So many years ago, NewPay only did field services for NewPay. Only did for NewPay. Okay. We were then approached by a bank that asked if we could please do field services for them. They didn't have a field service division. And we said, cool, let's do it. And we started doing field services for a specific bank. And it just grew from there. Okay. We do cash build, retailability, African Bank. Now, we don't do terminals for African Bank, guys. We do these massive machines that print the actual cards. Anybody got an African Bank card? Nobody. Okay. But those machines print the bank cards. Okay. Sunglass Hut and Wallet Dock. So those are some of our retails. But I need to assure all the merchants here today that you are still in our best interest. Yes, we are growing and doing field services with other customers, with other industries, but we still have your best interest at heart. All right, any questions? Nothing. I was hoping for a lot of questions because I don't have a big presentation, but it's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening, and I hope we've learned something today. Yes, ma'am.
I heard you mention banks, the ones that you work with for debit. So I was wondering is the debit check set up for Time Bank, Discovery Bank, African Bank?
Time Bank, yes. African Bank, yes. Discovery Bank, no. So I'm looking at these guys. I'm the supply chain manager, but I've got a little bit of info on it. Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking is because I get a lot of clients using those mentioned banks.
Uh-huh.
So what I want to know is, let's say tomorrow I get a client using Time Bank. I can add them on my system and then all systems go.
You can load a debit check transaction against Time Bank, yes.
Thank you.
Hang on, Bergs. Bergs is saying.
Hello. Is that on? Yes. Okay, so specifically with the Time Bank, and I think the reason why we're receiving more calls about Time Bank, it's obviously because our consumers are spending more time in Pick n Pay. Okay, so Time Bank's open on debit check, yes, but it's not open on all the different transaction types currently. Okay, so right now you would be able to upload a TT2 transaction against Time Bank. So does anybody know what a TT2 is, or should I maybe explain a bit on that? Okay, cool. So obviously TT1 and TT3, if you're familiar with it, it's one installment, one consumer that you upload, correct? Okay, so TT2, it's bulk. Okay, so when we refer to bulk, it's obviously more than one. So you would, So obviously you would have a bulk file where you would need to upload the consumer's details and then send the file. And then the file, well, once it's presented, then the consumers need to accept it. And there's a time delay because it's TT2. It's not real-time authentication right now. So there's definitely development. I mean, Bren has mentioned that technology is moving on. So we are definitely the banks. Oh, Time Bank 4 months ago was dead in the water with TT 1, 2, 3. I mean, they've got TT2 now. So I think in the future, most probably most of the banks should be open on a debit check platform. Okay, just hold on. Okay.
Hi guys. So no. In terms of Time Bank and African Bank, Morne TT1 as well, right? Yeah. So African Bank, you can do a TT1 and a TT2 transaction. So that's your type of authentication that you do. It's how you do the authentication. So you guys are used to card and PIN on a terminal. Okay. So you take the card, you swipe it through. That's a TT3 transaction. That's your method of authentication. So TT3 transactions, you cannot do Time Bank transactions, and you cannot do African Bank transactions. And that's because those banks have not done the development on their side to allow the transaction to be processed in that platform or in that manner. However, for African Bank, you can do a TT1 transaction type. So if you're working on a standalone platform through our NewPay website, you can upload a TT1 transaction. That means you have to capture and type in the account number, name, surname, all of those details, and then you send up the transaction with the frequency and everything. So that's how you process that. For your TT2 type of transaction, which you can now also use for Time Bank transactions, you can also do that on the website, and you can do it one by one like that, or you can create a bulk spreadsheet where you put lots of people's names onto it. And then you send that up. Just take note that there's a delay in terms of how long it takes for that transaction to come back to you with authentication on it. So it takes some time and so forth. But again, we can get the account managers to just talk to you and show you physically how it exactly works. And speak to your account managers, guys. Johan also mentioned that earlier. These guys have a wealth of information. Speak to them. They can show you exactly how all of these things work. Ask them your difficult questions. And if they don't always have the answers, they'll come back, they'll get the answers and come back to you. So, yes. Okay. I think I need to understand why you're asking that question, but I'm just going to answer your question first. Okay, so they are set in WebFin and in Delfin, so we've got the two systems, right? There's different releases of software that comes out periodically with different sets of data that gets released for the upgrade. So there's new functionality enhancements and so forth. So as the banks release their new functionality, like Time Bank releasing a new functionality, then we physically have to go and build it in on the NewPay side for the payment side. And then once that is done, we have to also develop what we call a web service, an API. So that web service then we give to the developers that work on the WebFin system, and then they have to write the code to do that. So there's quite a few steps that you have to jump through to get to an end status. It's like terminals. These things don't just all get released at the same time. We have to do lots of development to get all the functionality working. So upgrades will happen in time. Okay, and we do obviously release these upgrades as it goes on. Right now, I don't know where we are in terms of time. Have you got any idea, Pierre? What are we on now? We're on 3.35 now. Is Time Bank included there? It is. Okay, so Mornay has tested it. 3.01. Okay. So you're definitely ready for upgrade, okay, and we can do that. The 3.35, as Mornay has just said, has just now been finalized through testing. By the way, Mornay heads up our business support team, so he looks at systems, infrastructure, platforms. He also sits on the PASA IC Steerco committee meetings and so forth, so there's some info coming up in the next presentation, which is interesting. It's coming from him. So we get lots of information on the inside, but his team also handles all of our testing of systems and new releases, all of that kind of stuff. His team looks after that also. They test all of our systems. So that's why he knows exactly. So Pierre's team does the development and stuff for the Delta side, Weapon Dolphin, and then they release that to Mornay to test. And then you're going to meet Ahmed a little bit later. He's sitting right next to Pierre. Ahmed's team handles the new pay development of items and also releases to Mornay to do the testing and stuff. Good.
Okay, cool. So I just want to introduce the next two speakers, guys. So we've got Rodney Janssen, they're both regional managers. I'm not going to say they're both regional managers, and Stefan Berger. Thank you.